So Nebraska fans, clearly some of the most passionate, maybe you could argue the most passionate fans in college football. Everybody, for the most part around here, I would say, they still think Nebraska is a top job. It's a destination.
Sure.
It's not some place like a stepping stone. You're going to go to other jobs. I think it's lost a lot of that luster.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you.
I disagree with you there on that you think it's lost. Okay, maybe it's lost luster, but it's not, like I said, it's not a stepping stone job. I would say top 15, top 10 type of a job. I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of jobs right now to say. It's changed a lot with the amount of money all over the place. Like an SEC job, I bet out of the 14 teams that are in the SEC, we could sit down and look at it and probably argue, I don't know, maybe over half of them are top gigs that people would want to get to. I don't know. We could sit and off the top of my head, I could name ones that aren't.
Even some of those though. Now that's what I'm wondering about, is because it's not the same. I feel like Nebraska, all we cling to is what we were, and that's what we drive home. And we have we have some of the best facilities. We have a great stadium. We've got great fan support, but it seems like we always cling to, well, we're Nebraska. We're Nebraska and you're not, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not, you're Kansas State, you're whoever our old rivals were.
Right.
Well, you look at a team like Kentucky now.
Yeah.
Who knows what's really going on down there with the recruiting? I kind of don't buy into it.
Yeah, I haven't really been following
but
that.
But they're, all of a sudden they're excelling in recruiting.
Uh-huh.
And they've got, fans excited. Their fan base it's a basketball school, always will be. But you got, not to say that their job compares necessarily either,
No,
but you have a lot of smaller schools now that can do it.
Yeah.
And where you have a school like Nebraska with all these things kind of been down over the last decade, even with that kind of an advantage monetarily over a lot of these other places.
Yeah.
And you get, it only takes a couple big boosters really for a school to get into it. And I just don't know if, where is Nebraska going wrong is my question. When we have this much of an advantage that we could, flex over other schools, but yet we're still not getting the job done.
Well, I would say where they're going wrong, in my opinion, would be, their head man, and that's Bo Pelini, and it's maybe their approach at recruiting.
Then it's got to be.
And on top of that,
even that head
just
man
coaching.
Before, the head man
Tom
above
Osborne.
the head man.
Yeah.
Like
I would say Tom Osborne deserved a grade of a C as an athletic director. Obviously as a head coach.
Football wise only though? He did a lot.
That's
overall.
the thing. Yeah, he did some other good things.
Got us into the Big Ten, basically.
Yeah, football wise, definitely just a C. He put in. He got boosters to put in for the expansion of the East Stadium, and that's going to open up this fall. It's going to look beautiful, it looks like, from what I've seen. They've got some research centers and all that, that's opening up. Things a little bit beyond, the playing field, football-wise, but, I think that it may be able to reassert itself in the recruiting grounds. But just from a football standpoint of coaches, recruiting, in that sense, I'd say about a C. If you want to go ahead and give them credit solely for the Big Ten invitation,
I wouldn't say solely.
No, I know. Harvey Perlman and then the Board of Regents, they all had a hand.
I just don't
and
think.
Delaney himself.
I think that we look at it. People here. I don't know that we can get out of our heads. We're always going to think Nebraska is a top job.
I think that's a home state bias,
That's what I'm saying.
and on top of that, I think that it is clinging to the glory years. What have you done for me lately?
People that that will say that around the country, or even media-wise, like experts or whoever you want to say.
I think
they'll maybe we're kind of a side note at this time.
Get out of here. I think that the media. That's something you and I always kind of debate. The media. I think they want to see us do well. They want to see.
I agree, but I don't hear a lot of talk.
No, they don't talk about us. No, they don't bring us up.
Nebraska is a place where you want to be. And
I understand.
And even in the coaching searches before, you could say they were, bungled by so and so. But no one really seemed interested. I mean, it could be that you fire Solich after a 9-win season. Maybe coaches don't want that. But if it's a destination even then, that's even closer to the glory years. You would think somebody would want to come in there and snatch that job up with all the
What would
resources.
you consider the Nebraska job as? Like a top 25 type of gig?
Oh, I mean, it's got to be just because of, what there is to offer, facilities wise and the backing, the support, and the money that rolls in. I mean, it's a huge moneymaker. It always has been. But I
mean, overall, prestige wise, I would say, historically, it's definitely a top 10 gig, in my opinion.
Sure, I would say that, but that's what I'm worried about.
But now today, I wouldn't say it's today. If the job came open, I'm kind of back and forth on this. Yes, I do think that it's like if it came open today, because let's put in top 10 jobs that came open today. Like, not every job's like Alabama. Nick Saban's not leaving.
No, he's not leaving. But I mean, if you're going to put in that context, you could argue forever.
Right.
I'm saying if all things considered, say it's vacant here, it's vacant there. Like even Texas is down pretty much lately for what they are. I think somebody takes Texas job before they take the Nebraska job.
Oh, certainly. I would say Texas job.
So
I'd put Texas job over Nebraska.
You would? See, I don't think it's that far off, money-wise. They may have a little bit more.
I disagree. I think money-wise it's gigantic. I mean, the amount of money that would go into the program and the money that could be paid out, like, Nebraska does have its limits, what they're going to be able to pay a coach. But I think that's always kind of been, phooey. Like, look at what they're paying Bo Pelini. Like, I caught some guy, I don't know if it was while I was at World of Fun or where I was. I don't remember where it was. But this guy's telling me what they're paying Bo Pelini. And they're like, oh, they're paying that guy peanuts. And I'm like, dude, no, they're not. Like, I didn't even bother arguing with the guy because I didn't want to talk to the guy.
But even
he was a Jimbo.
But like SEC assistants trump our assistants normally.
Yeah.
I mean, Beck got a pay raise, but I mean, there is. That's what I don't understand. People are always going to say, well, Nebraska can't afford to do that. Well, Nebraska can seemingly afford to build improvements on the stadium. Can build a new basketball facility. We have the money to do that.
Oh, they have the money to do it. I think that they're afraid to do it. I think that it's
you gotta do something.
Yeah.
Because this is not an attractive job as it used to be.
I don't know what to compare it to, really. I would say you're not gonna like this one, but I'm gonna say like maybe compare it to like the Chicago Cubs or something.
Yeah.
I mean, like Wrigley Field brings in people. People.
Right.
Yes, they go see the Cubs because the Cubs play at Wrigley Field. But Wrigley Field is the attraction. Like,
yeah, I get that.
And I'm not saying Memorial Stadium is the attraction for the Cornhuskers, but just I think that maybe we have not had the most aggressive people suiting to try and get a head coach to come here. Like, I can't even name you the athletic director or the president or whoever that is at Alabama that 5-6 years ago, whatever it is, however how long that they've had Nick Saban, they were like, we're going to go get Nick Saban, And before they got Nick Saban wasn't to the status that he is right now. Yes, he did win a championship at LSU. Yes, they knew that he was a good coach there and a pretty darn good coach at Michigan State. But I mean, he's gone through the roof. Like he is a legend now. Like definitely. I mean, he already has a statue there. But what I'm getting at is. Somebody down there at Alabama, they said, God damn it, we're going to go out, we're going to get Nick Saban. And when he was sitting there weeks or just days before that, he said, I'm not leaving the Miami Dolphins. And he decided, money talks,
Sure, money
everybody's
talks.
got a price.
But again, I mean, you pay the same amount, let's say you pay. I just don't, there's other things that go into it. I just don't think, even like a Big Ten job is not that attractive. The SEC's doing things differently than the Big Ten. Big Ten's just an archaic league to me in a lot of ways. I mean, you can say what you want about the grade point averages or whatever to let students in.
Yeah.
But that's things that, I mean, Tom Osborne even used to do. He argued against that kind of. He wanted to give guys more of a chance that maybe weren't so good in school, to get them into college, and hopefully they build off it. SEC, they've got lower standards than they do in the Big Ten.
Well,
so you look at a coach is going to say, well, I can go down there, better recruiting to begin with down there, and lower standard. I can bring in more people that maybe wouldn't have a chance elsewhere. I just don't think a lot of things here, I mean, cold weather could, and, there's a lot of things.
Sure.
But you're going to have to get a guy that can really sell Nebraska. Bopley, I don't think does it all that well. I think he's a good guy. The players love him. He's a good at, academically with his, graduating kids. They're usually good guys. Football-wise, I mean, we want to win.
Yeah. Well, ultimately,
let's not sugarcoat. People always try to say, well, this and that, we're good people here. We want to win. That's what it comes down to, bottom line. You got a couple bad apples.
But my question is,
bring them on.
How much do people want to win? Because it seems like, I've met some people that have been okay with the idea of 9 wins. 9 wins, that's a great season. You go 9, you play 12 games, that's 9-3. You play another game, you go 9-4. That's not that great of a season, really, in my opinion. That's not that great of a season. It's above average, but it's not. There's a lot of 9-4 teams out there. There's not very many, 10-2 teams or 12-1.
My bottom line, last thing I'm going to say, I think the glory days, I hate to say it, they're long in the past. Things have changed. I don't think Nebraska's ever going to be repeatedly at an elite level. I think maybe we can go, make a run for a championship maybe here and there. But I just don't think it's there anymore.
Well, I think it's possible. It's just it takes the right man in charge and getting the right staff assembled. Look at Alabama right now. Obviously, I use them as a comparison a whole lot. But look what they've done. They've won 2 championships in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then before that, they had a kind of a 2-loss season or something like that. And then before that, they won another championship. So they're going for 4 out of 5 years here this year if they do win a championship. They're able to do it. Somebody's able to do it. If Alabama's able to do it, if Nebraska can get the right coaching staff, get the right guy in here to recruit, it's possible that they can do it. Is it going to happen? I don't count on it, but it's possible. A dynasty, a run like that's pretty phenomenal. Throw out winning 4 national championships in 5 years. That's not. But just winning the conference alone. Look what Ohio State was doing up until a few years ago when we did come into the conference. Ohio State, they ran off with. Granted that was before they had the conference championship games, but they'd have ties and all that. But they won the conference like 7-8 years in a row or something like that.
Michigan, Ohio State, pretty much forever. But with a few random people here and there making runs, but. I just think that those days are in the past for Nebraska.